On Wizards, your daily Washington Wizards podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day.
What is going on, guys? It's your boy D and Ed back at it again. I want to thank you guys for making Locked On Wizards your very first listen every day. We are free and available on all platforms. I would love if you guys follow us on social media, Twitter, subscribe to the podcast, subscribe to us on YouTube, Locked On Wizards. And we got an action-packed show today, Ed. We got some Bradley Beal injury news. We got some thoughts on the game, some thoughts on some players, expectations for Daniel Gafford, preseason performers, where the Wizards rank defensively throughout the preseason, Thomas Bryant update, and just some minor transaction news. So to start off, I just wanted to update David Aldridge. He had said that Bradley Beal was getting treatment for his knee contusion today. And while Wizards will obviously be prudent with him, the hope is that he'll be able to practice Sunday in preparation for Washington's season opener in Toronto Wednesday. So, Ed, when you hear that news, what do you think right there? You feel like he may be ready? Feel like it's minor? How you feeling?
I think he's going to be good to go. I didn't see the injury happen, so I hope he's okay, but I think he should be fine. Wes said it's not severe, just like David Aldridge said, so I think they're both on the same page with that. And contusions, they can be very painful. Sometimes they do take time. They can take a week to get ready, but, the game was on Friday. The game's on Wednesday night, so, they'll probably ice it up, let him rest. And, Brad's a tough guy. Remember – early in his career, he had the injury-prone tag on him, but knock on wood, hopefully that doesn't come back this year. But I think he'll be fine and ready for the Raptors game on Wednesday night. I can't wait. Our first game of the season, I can't wait.
Yeah, I agree with you. I mean, I was watching the game in the second quarter. I just told you I was like, it was late second quarter. I was like, why is Bradley Beal not on the court? That's weird. And then the Knicks broadcast had said that he had the right knee contusion. I just assumed that they were being very precautionary for obvious reasons. I mean, like you said, neither of us seen him go down on the floor and grab something, and it was a big deal on Twitter. It was just kind of, nobody knows even when exactly that it occurred. So hopefully it's a minor thing. Hopefully he can practice on Sunday and be ready for the opener at Toronto. So just wanted to hit on that really quick. But now let's get into the Wizards-Knicks game and our thoughts. The Wizards lost 113-115. Julius Randle hit the game winner. What's some things you liked? What are some things you didn't like, Ed?
Well, I think we should circle the Knicks game on the schedule because Tibbs playing his starters. I'm not gonna say it was a Bush League move, but it's preseason, man. Now Tibbs is a different kind of coach. With Derrick Rose getting injured his first major ACL injury in the playoffs with the Bulls, we know Tibbs left Derrick Rose way too long in the game. And we know how Tibbs coach, he doesn't care if it's preseason or not. He wants his guys to play to the finish every game. That's just who Tibbs is. But I do feel like it was kind of trying to find the right word for it, but it was not unfair, but it's come on, man. We got our bench guys in there. You're playing Julius Randle, you're playing Derrick Rose, you're playing I want to say RJ Barrett was still in the game. He had his key players still in there, and they definitely could have risked getting injured. So that was the risk he took. They won that preseason game. The crowd was going crazy, the game winner, whatever. So I hope they feel good about themselves. But we definitely got them scheduled on the preseason. In the regular season, we're definitely going to circle those games against the Knicks for sure. But about the game, there's a lot to go over. It was a good game. It was a lot of back and forth. We were blowing them out at one point. Then we did put, our second string, third string guys in. Bradley Beal was hurt as well. So, the Knicks started coming back at the end of the game. But I liked what I saw from Daniel Gafford, another double-double for him. Bold prediction. You got it right first time. I got my bold prediction right. This is my backup bold prediction. So I'm not going to get too happy. This is my backup.
It counts. But, it counts. Ed.
Right,
it counts,
right.
Man.
But Daniel Gafford got 4 blocks. I predicted that. So double-double for him. I thought both of the smaller point guards played really well. Howell Neto played well. Aaron Holiday came in. Howell Neto, if you look at his numbers, he was 8 for 9. He was 10 for 13 from the field. The guy shot the lights out, 2 for 4 from the three-point line, 25 points, Like Neto was going back and forth with Kemba at one point. They were just trading buckets back and forth. Same thing with Aaron Holiday. They were trading buckets back and forth. Him and Kemba going at it. Him and Derrick Rose going at it. So it was a fun duel to watch. I really like Corey Kispert stepping up in the clutch. I think he heard us. He might have heard us the other day talking about him being one of the least impressive players. Mm-hmm. Where we talked about his shooting percentages, and his 3-point shooting percentages were just as bad as Davis Bertans, the Latvian. I can't even call him the Latvian laser anymore because he's not shooting like it. But Kispert played a lot better. 3 for 4 from the 3-point line, coming in, hitting that big three in the clutch to tie the game. That was a huge shot by the rookie. And Dinwiddie continues to impress, 17 points, 5 for 11 from the field, 3 for 6 from the 3-point line. He shot 43% from the 3-point line in the preseason. So Dinwiddie has played really, really – I love what I saw from Dinwiddie this whole preseason. Trying to think who else played well. Harrell. I thought Harrell's energy was good. But, yeah, the two guards and Gaff, and I thought Kuzma had stretches of playing well. But there's a lot of things that I didn't like either, but I'll let you go.
As far as the things that I did like, Rowan Neto, like you said, he was hooping out of his mind. I mean, you just read the stats off. Aaron Holiday, he came in, he like hot from the start. He played really well. I enjoyed what I seen from him. KCP, I enjoyed what I seen from KCP as well. He's been one of my favorite guys from the preseason as well. Kyle Kuzma, offensively, he didn't, put up the numbers or shoot as well as he did last game against the Raptors. But I will give him props for the defending that he did on Julius Randle. I feel like he did a pretty good job defending Julius Randle for the times that he was tasked with guarding him. I feel like then he did a good job too, because I seen them both, trying to get responsibilities for Julius Randle. But I feel like Kyle Kuzma did a lot of good with defending him as much as, he possibly could. In general, the team defense, I was very impressed in that first and second quarter. I never seen the Wizards act like that before defensively in a long time. And it was good to see. They compare that from the first time they played the Knicks in the preseason to now. It was, you talk about night and day. Just look at the shooting percentages. The Knicks at one point early was like shooting 20-something% from the field. So they were contesting like almost every shot. They were contesting every shot. They were scrappy. And of course, the Knicks in the third quarter, fourth quarter started making that comeback, and then when the second, third stringers started coming in, the momentum, really shifted in the Knicks' favor. But, I mean, Daniel Gafford, another double-double. Montrezl Harrell, Spencer Dinwiddie in that Gafford pick and roll. We see some nice alley-oops. We seen Spencer Dinwiddie hit some nice threes. I mean, it was a lot to like, but what was your dislikes about it?
And I do want to add, so there was so much, like I said, to talk about the game. I love the Dinwiddie to Gafford alley-oop where he dunked on Derrick Rose. And like you said, the defense, they took it to heart because them hitting 24 threes in that game at home 2 games ago, that's unacceptable. And I think they actually took it to heart and they defended a lot better. I do want to look at the Knicks, how many threes they hit 15 threes. They were 15 for 42. 35% from the three were last game. They shot, 45% from the three when they played? They hit 24 threes in our own home. So the defense was way better. So I think that's what Wes Unseld Jr. is going to instill in the team, better defense. But what I didn't like is Davis Bertans. He's just been bad, man. He's never going to live up to that contract. $16 million per year, 5-year, $80 million contract. And I was one of the people that did want him to sign. We had offers on the table to trade him. I don't know if it was a first-round pick or 2 first-round picks or 2 second-round picks at the time. I want to say it was a first at the time in 2020 when he was actually playing well. But 0 for 4 from the three-point line. This guy, he's just not – he's shooting bad shots. He's shooting, like, deep threes, ill-advised threes, and he's not bringing anything else to the table. So it's been rough for Davies, man. It's been rough.
Yeah, for my dislikes, I would say, like you said, Davis Bertans, who we will get into a little bit more. Turnovers in the fourth quarter. I feel like there was a span where they were turning the ball over, and that really helped the Knicks get their momentum going. It was one span in the third quarter, I believe, where the Knicks got like 4 offensive rebounds. So it was like 3 offensive rebounds, and one of them got tipped out of bounds, and it was Knicks' ball, so that gave them a 4th opportunity to score. So, the rebounding a little bit in that span and the turnovers from the backup guys in the late fourth quarter, I would have liked to shore up, but I didn't see too much negative as a team, not talking about just individual performances that I would be too upset about. And like I said, we are going to get into into Davis Bertans, but before we do that, I have a message from our friends at Prize Picks. Prize Picks has the best NBA DFS prop game on the market. Prize Picks offers more NBA props than any other DFS prop operator and offers all the superstar players as well as bench players, only recording a handful of minutes each game. Prize Picks offers any prop you can think of, from yardage to touchdowns, even interceptions thrown. All of our listeners that deposit and use our promo code will receive a 100% instant deposit match up to $100. Just be sure to use promo code NBA. You can pick 2 to 5 players and an over-under on their projections, and you can win up to 10 times on an entry, and it's just you versus the projected numbers. Prize Picks allows mixed sports entries. For example, you can take the over on LeBron combined with the under on Mahomes in the same entry. Use the award-winning app on both the App Store and Google Play entries. It can be entered and be made in 60 seconds or less. It's that easy. Prize Picks is safe and offers fast withdrawals. Don't hesitate. Check out prizepicks.com and use promo code NBA, or go to your app store and download the app today. Prize Picks is daily fantasy made easy. And we also have a message from our friends at DirecTV. Does this sound familiar? You got one device that lets you catch the game live, another that lets you stream your favorite shows. You're watching sports highlights on your phone, and you've got your neighbor's best friends log in for the good stuff. Well, I want to tell you about a simple way to get all that entertainment you love without the hassle, and a great way to finally get your TV together. It's called DirecTV Stream, and it brings your live TV and on-demand favorites together like never before, so you can watch your favorite sports, movies, and shows all in one place. That means no more juggling remotes and no need to buy another device ever again. And the best part, there's no annual contract. So get rid of the clutter and the confusion and get your TV together with DirecTV Stream. You can learn more at directtv.com. That's directtv.com. Compatible device required. Content varies by package. So, Ed, it's time to get into Davis Bertans. 0 for 4 shooting night. How you feel about him, man? How you feeling?
So Davis was so bad in the preseason. You look at the numbers: 5.5 points per game, 24% from the field, 20% from the 3-point line, and 16 minutes per game. Also, he had the worst 3-point percentage in the 2022 preseason, minimum 10 attempts. He was in a group with Anthony Edwards, who shot 21% from the 3. LaMelo Ball also shot 21% from the 3. So he was in bad company there. Davis was so bad. I always bring up that Sixers game in the playoffs where he had 0 points, 0 rebounds, and 6 fouls. And that game is basically defining what Davis Bertans has been for the Wizards. He's been a zero, a no-show, in the 2021 season. And I try to stick up for Davis, and it's just preseason, but we really can't just say it's just preseason. These are games that are starting to try to get us ready, and he really might be playing himself out of the rotation. If Corey Kispert comes in, he goes 3 for 4 from the 3-point line, or even 2 for 5 from the 3-point line, and comes in and makes big shots like that. I even think, honestly, if Garrison Matthews was on the roster, I'd rather give Garrison Matthews more playing time than Davis. Right now, the way Davis is playing, Davis doesn't bring much on the defensive end either. He's just a defensive liability. He can't defend. We all know that. But, he has his main job is to hit threes. And he's taking bad threes, bad ill-advised shots right now. And he's just not helping the team. We got other guys that can come in and do more. You got Kyle Kuzma, KCP. Rui's going to come back. You have Kuzma is knocking down threes now. So you have other guys who are capable of coming in and contributing and knocking down a three and can do other things. So Davis he's been bad, man. He's been really bad this preseason. So we'll see what West does. But the thing is, we have to pump up his trade value. Everybody's like, oh, trade Davis, trade. Who's going to trade for Davis Bertans right now? Nobody's going to trade for Davis in their right mind. They might give up a 2nd-round pick, but even if I was a GM, I would debate on giving up a 2nd-round pick for Davis, to be honest with you, because you got to take on his contract. If he was making like veteran minimum or $5 million, you're like, okay, even the MLE, like $9 million or $8 million a year is considerable, but $16 million per year, and you still have basically this year and 3 years after left on his deal. Mm-hmm. You're gonna have to, West would have to throw in a pick to sweeten the deal, like a first-round pick and Davies just to get off the contract. So, I mean, it's tough right now with Davies. We'll see, man. He might get on a shooter's roll and start getting hot, just have a streak, but it's yet to be seen right now.
Yeah. Davis Bertans. I have been not a fan, going into last season and him struggling the way he did. At first, the excuse was he was out of shape, it was going to take him some time to get acclimated. And then Denny Avdia last season was the starter and was playing pretty well, in my opinion. And Scott Brooks switched the lineup up to start Davis Bertans, in Scott Brooks' words, to get him, activated? I believe that was the term he used. Mm-hmm. You got a guy whose job is to make shots. And this would be okay if, he was going into free agency next year. He just was on a 1-year deal. Like when he got traded into Washington, he was going to be a free agent. And so if he had off nights, cool. But now you're getting paid $16 million and you're going 0 for 4, 1 for 5, 2 for 7, etc. And you're a big part of the offense. You're a big part of the offensive scheme. It's time for Davis Bertans to step up, like seriously step up, or be pushed out of the rotation for a younger Corey Kispert, whose game, honestly, offensively, is a little more fleshed out than Davis Bertans. He could do a little more than Davis can offensively. And I'm more willing to deal with Corey Kispert's off nights, etc., because he's a rookie. He's a young guy. Davis Bertans is making all this money. And like you say, he's not bringing anything to the defensive side. So if you're not making shots and you're not bringing anything to the defensive side of the ball, really, what are we doing outside of paying you all this money? So, like you said, the trade value, we can scream, trade him, whatever, all you want, but what teams is really going to want him right now on that contract with what he's doing? Guys see, the scouts and front offices see the same thing the fans are seeing and we're seeing. We seeing the guy going out there and struggling to shoot the ball, which is what his specialty is. So, the more Corey Kispert shows that he can play, the more expendable Davis Bertans becomes, in my opinion.
Oh, definitely, yeah. I was a little down on Corey in our last episode because I was just like, his shooting percentages were bad, and sometimes in the summer league he was bad. But no, we need Corey Kispert to play. I was like, Corey, I was kind of so down on him. I was like, yeah, he might spend some time in the G League, but no, we need Corey to play, because if Corey can push Davies to the bench, and I want to see Davies be successful. I'm rooting for Davies. Whoever's in a Wizards jersey, I want to see them do well, of course. Mm-hmm. But if you're not producing, then you got to sit down. It's on West too. West has got to make some rotational decisions, and that's a decision that West is going to have to make during the season. We'll see how Davies goes through these first 10 games. If he doesn't pick it up, we'll give him. West will probably be like, hey, let's see how you're doing these 10, 15 games. If you're not producing, we just don't have time. Because, like I keep saying, this trade deadline is super important for Bradley Beal. If Bradley Beal sees this team is not good around him, that's probably it. So, but if we look good, like I said, we're 5 games above 500, then, let's make a strong playoff push.
Yeah. And quick question before we go to the next segment. What was Davis Bertans' shooting percentages again?
21% from the 3, 24% from the field. 21% from the 3. 21% from the 3-point line, 24% from the field, and 5.5 points per game.
I think that's all I need to hear, guys. Before we go into our next segment, I have a message from our guys and friends at Built Bar. Did you know that Built Bar has so many delicious flavors? There's something for everyone. When you talk to a Built Bar fan, they're definitely passionate about their faves. If you don't know the Built Bar flavors, well, you're missing out. They have coconut, cherry barcia, raspberry, mint brownie, double chocolate, salted caramel, my favorite, strawberry, orange, cookies and cream, German chocolate. Know what my favorite flavor is? As I just said, salted caramel. Go get it, guys. If you haven't tried all the flavors, you can get a mixed box where you'll get 2 of each of the 9 flavors. Not only are Built Bar's flavors the best tasting, but they're healthy too. Check out the macros: 17 to 18 grams protein, calories ranging from 130 to 180, only 45 grams of sugar, and only 45 grams of net carbs. Amazing flavors, all tasty, all healthy. Order today and you can get a flavor like the grasshopper cookie or raspberry or whatever you like. Built Bar is the official protein bar of the U.S. track and field team as well. Go to built.com and use promo code LOCKED15 and you'll get 50% off your order. Use promo code LOCKED15 for 15% off at built.com. Now, Ed, we go from a player who is struggling to a player who has been excelling in Daniel Gafford. So what are some expectations you have for Daniel Gafford?
I'm loving Daniel Gafford. I'm a huge fan of Daniel Gafford. I love the way he plays. So just to go over his preseason numbers. I know it's just preseason, but I think it is telling. I think the numbers are important. So in preseason, through 4 games, he averaged 10.8 points per game. He averaged 8.5 rebounds per game, which led the team in rebounds. He had 2 double doubles. He had 2.5 blocks per game, which led the team. Probably led the NBA in blocks as well. I need to look up that number as well. And he shot 60% from the field, which led the team as well, which probably was top 5 in the NBA as well in the preseason. And 60% from the field is excellent for Gafford. He did what I wanted him to do. The minutes went up. There was a game where he played 27 minutes. Let me look at last night's as well, just to look at his minutes, because, that was a big concern last year. Scott Brooks taking him out because of stamina. Scott Brooks taking him out because of foul trouble. He cut down on fouls. He only had 1 foul last night. That's awesome. That's awesome for Daniel Gafford. But just to pull up the minutes real quick, he played 30 minutes last night. And that's definitely not what we saw last year from him. So if he's capable to play 30 minutes, and you know what? He hit a mid-range jumper last night.
Yes,
too.
I seen that. I didn't even bring that up. Yeah.
My man Gaff hit a mid-range jumper. That's what I want to see from him. And that's what he talked about working in this offseason. The trainer, Alex, can't remember his last name, but we got a developmental coach. I think it's a new developmental coach this year. That wasn't so Junior brought in, but he was working out with this guy. There's a story about Daniel Gafford working in a heated gym where it was like 90 degrees in the gym, just to work on his stamina, working on his jumper, working up on his face-up game. And he doesn't have to have a whole bunch of post moves. I'm not expecting him to be, Hakeem Olajuwon or even Marchand or even Gortat in the post or Nene in the post. I'm not expecting him to do all that, to have a whole bunch of post moves. We just want him to go out there, rim run, give 110% energy every time, block shots, don't foul, get the offensive boards, control the boards, protect the rim. I think he's obviously our best rim protector on the team, the best big man rim protector. I think he's a better rim protector than Harrell, better rim protector than Thomas Bryant. I love all our bigs. I love the combination of all our bigs. They all bring something different to the table. They all play hard. They all bring energy. But Gaff, man, him and Dinwiddie, I think Dinwiddie's going to motor his game too. Gaff and Russ had a good chemistry last year too. The alley-oops and all that stuff too. So I think he has a point guard that can create for him, that can spoon feed him too when he's not getting his own buckets. So I'm expecting a double-double for Gaff. I'm expecting nothing less than a double-double. If it's not 10 and 10, it better be 10 and 9. It better be something around that. And I'm expecting 2 blocks per game. He should get 2 blocks per game. He should be top 5 in blocks this season. He should be in the Rudy Gobert conversation. He should be in the Clint Capella conversation. All those guys. Mitchell Robinson. We saw him play last night. Mitchell Robinson had a couple nice dunks last night. He played well. I'll give Mitchell Robinson a little bit of credit too. He played well. All those big men, Jared Allen, all those big men that you think of that jump out the gym, just rim run. They don't shoot threes. They just run. And that's what I'm expecting from Gafford this year, especially with Wes Unseld Jr. Wes said he never had, with the Nuggets, they didn't have an athletic big like that. Jokic is not athletic like that. Of course, athletic is way more skilled than Gafford, but he just doesn't have that bounce, that vertical bounce where I'm just going to jump off the floor super quick. And I'm a huge Gafford stan, as you can tell. I just get excited when I'm talking about Daniel Gafford because I love what I see from the guy, that energy, that hustle, the field goal percentage, the defense that he brings to the team. We haven't had an athletic big that can rim run like that probably since JaVale McGee, and I think he's a lot better than JaVale McGee. So I'm expecting a double-double. I'm going to give my stat prediction before the season starts on Wednesday. 10 points. I'm going to say 10 points. I'm going to go with 10 and a half boards. I'm going to say 2 blocks per game. And I think he will get some votes for an all-defensive team. I think he might even get some votes for a Defensive Player of the Year team. I'll even go that far. I'll give Wes Unseld Jr. some credit and Gafford some credit. But, I can go on and on about Gafford. How you feel about Gafford's expectations?
My expectations for Gafford, we both are big fans of Gafford. I'm expecting a double-double too. As long as he can keep the fouls down, which he's been improving on, and playing 30 minutes a game, I can easily see a double-double for a guy like him. Even if it's 13 and 10, something like that, or like you said, 13 and 9, somewhere in that range. I've called that a success personally. 2 blocks on average, I can honestly see that. Whether you round it up, whether it's a 1.7, if it's a 1.6, I'm averaging that up to 2 blocks for me personally. I think Daniel Gafford has the opportunity to really have the best season of his NBA career so far. The stamina thing isn't an issue anymore. As you spoke about, he was getting taken out of games because his endurance wasn't where it needed to be. And he played 30 minutes last night. And if he's doing that consistently or staying out of foul trouble and being able to be on the floor, running that pick and roll with Dinwiddie, blocking shots, etc., it can be a really good year for him, man. It really can. And maybe he can receive some votes, for defense all NBA, etc. So I think it's a lot of room for Daniel Gafford to make a huge impression this season, and open more people, because some guys on social media who already talk about him every time they play the Wizards, they're like, Daniel Gafford, this guy's pretty good. So I think he really has the opportunity to build on that.
Oh yeah, definitely. And I gotta give Tommy Shepard some credit for that trade from Chicago. I mean, that was a heck to flip Troy Brown Jr. for Gafford, a guy who was a first-round pick, and Troy Brown, who didn't work out for the Wizards, to get a second-round pick and Daniel Gafford. Wow. I mean, that was the trade that changed. We went 17-6 once we picked up Daniel Gafford. We would not have made the playoffs last year if it was not for Daniel Gafford.
I can agree with that. And to hit on our next topic, top preseason performers. I feel like I kind of know some names that may be thrown out there, but who would you say was your top preseason performers?
So yeah, other than Gaff, who I just went on a tangent about for 10 minutes, I'm gonna say Spencer Dinwiddie. He led the team in assists with 4.8 assists per game, 13.5 points per game through 4 games, 43% from the 3-point line, 45% from the field goal, from the 45% field goal percentage, and 84% from the free throw line. So he almost dang near had a 40-50-90 or a 50-40-90, shooting percentages from everywhere. So he just impressed. I love the chemistry with Gaff. I thought he already built chemistry with Bradley Beal as well. Same thing with Harold with the bigs. So Spencer Dinwiddie really impressed me. I think it's going to be a really good pickup. I'm going to say Montrezl Harrell as well. He had 13.8 points per game, 6.5 boards per game, and 1.8 blocks per game as well. 48% from the field. He had a double-double as well. I loved his energy. Plus minus is a stat. You can take it for whatever it's worth. Some people don't believe in plus minus. I do. I don't 100% believe in plus minus, but I do look at it. It's a stat that I think shouldn't be just wiped under the rug, because plus minus isn't great. That could be just the whole bench unit as a whole. The whole bench unit plus minus wasn't great. So it's not just Montrezl Harrell's fault. But I thought he played well. I think he's just going to bring that energy and the vocal, be a vocal leader that we're really, really, really looking for. I'm going to say Aaron Holiday, too. I think he's going to be one of our X factors. He played really well. I'm going to say him and Neto. And then I'm going to sprinkle in a little bit of Kuz. He shot 40% from the three-point line, which is really, really good. That's what we're looking for from Bertans. 12 points and 5 boards a game. I thought he had a rough start, and then he got more comfortable. He said it himself. like we talked about, it's going to take 20 games. You can just tell mentally and physically and just confidence-wise, he's still getting comfortable with the team. I don't think he's there yet, but I think when everything does start clicking, and Rui coming back is going to make it a little weird too. Now he's going to be coming off the bench. So that might actually work for him. That might actually work for him playing with a bench unit where he's going to be the best scorer coming off the bench. So it will be interesting to see Kuz in the regular season.
Yeah, I would say my top preseason performance, I'm gonna leave it at a top 3. And I'm gonna try to put some new guys in there. You know, I could easily say DG, but I'm gonna leave him out of this. I'm gonna go with Spencer Dinwiddie, Montrezl Harrell, and Aaron Holiday. Those I've been really impressed with all 3 of those guys. I mean, and that's pretty much a shout out to Tommy Shepard because those are 3 brand new players to the team who, in my opinion, have been very impressive to me. So you got 3 new guys to the team coming in and making a very good impression. And not only me, just me, you can ask anybody in the Wizards fan base as well. They'll probably tell you the same thing. Aaron Holiday has looked really good. Spencer Dinwiddie has looked really good. Some people may call him a breath of fresh air. And Montrezl Harrell has been that consistent ball of energy. And I'm just excited to see how these guys play in the regular season. I mean, and let's just try to get the Wizards into some non-playing contention. That's what I would say, you know, and I think those 3 guys can be a big help to that.
Right. Yeah, it is interesting. Out of all the names that we said, we didn't say Bradley Beal, which is not a bad thing this season. It's not bad. It's not anything that I'm really worried about, but just, you know, the 1 for 11 game, it stands out to me. But at the same time, it's not, you know, we're both not worried. We know he's going to get in there and score and put up 28 points a game. And, you know, it might be better for him not to have to score 30 points a game. That's where maybe if Brad scores 24 or 25 points a game, and that means 5 more or 10 more wins from last year, all the Wizards fan base is going to take that.
Yeah, definitely. On another topic, the Wizards' defensive rankings for the preseason dropped, and they were 30th in defensive rating, 29th in opponents' point per game, 29th in opponents' 3-point attempts, I believe, and 30th in opponents' 3-point percentage. Were you surprised at all by any of these rankings?
I'm going to say yes and no. You know, of course, since we all know that Wes is a defensive-minded head coach, everybody's expecting a huge leap from what we had last year with the previous coaching staff. You know, we were rock bottom at times. Multiple years in a row, we were rock bottom with Scotty. And it's going to take some time for Wes. You know, I don't want people to jump the gun and, you know, get mad at Wes if we start out a little slow defensively. But that Knicks game is probably the game that shot up the numbers and made it worse than what it is. And at the same time, you got to take into account, like, the Knicks game, if the starters would have played or the first 8 guys in a rotation or first 9 guys in a rotation, Bradley Beal stays healthy. If they would have finished the game, I think defensively that would have helped our rating and our numbers. But since, you know, we kept the bench guys in and they, of course, they played their starters, the Knicks, maybe if they would have played their bench guys against our bench guys, it would have been a more even matchup, of course, and the numbers would have looked better. But since they decided to play their starters and they started shooting the lights out with their starters versus our bench guys, that made our numbers look worse. But at the same time, the eye test, yeah, it definitely – we didn't pass the eye test on the Rockets game, in my opinion, and the Knicks game, of course. We played the Raptors. I thought there was more energy against the Raptors. But once again, that fourth quarter was bad because Sam Decker lit us up. So, of course, that hurt our defensive rating. And then the guy Flynn came in and just went crazy. So, the fourth quarter really killed us defensively. And that's the bench guys. So, Denny's got to step up. I thought Denny did a good job on Julius Randle, like you said, for whatever he could. Julius Randle he was all NBA last year. So, I'm not expecting Denny to shut him down, but I thought Denny did a good job on him for the most part. And but Decker was inexcusable. That's just something that just can't happen. Even though Decker did hit some good shots, some tough shots, but stuff like that just can't happen down the stretch. I thought we struggled. Corey Kispert is a work in progress defensively. He's a rookie, so he's not going to come in strapping guys up, and that just wasn't his thing in college, being a defensive guru. But yeah, we got a long way to go defensively still, and I think we are going to be better than what we were last year for sure. But yeah, I'm going to say no and yes on the surprise at the same time.
Yeah, I would say I'm not really surprised. Like Kyle Kuzma said, the team has a long ways to go. This team was for the last couple years, one of the bottom in the league as far as defense. And you got a new coach in who's trying to change that and change that defensive culture around the team and change that defensive identity from a poor defensive team to a good defensive team. It's going to take time. It's going to take a lot of rough games like we seen in that very first Knicks game where they get lit up and they probably fall into bad habits, etc. But we seen in the very latest Knicks game that they were really locked in. They got the players, they got the vets on the team, who've been on good defensive teams before, like the KCP and Kuz with the Lakers, to have a decent defensive team, and they just keep film studying, keep practicing, keep going over their drills and doing whatever they're doing. I think the numbers can definitely be respectful when we're in like towards the middle of the regular season. They can be respectful. Now, early on, I'm not surprised at these numbers at all. They, against the Raptors was still in the game. They didn't really never shut the Raptors down. The Rockets game, I mean, it was never really anything eye test, like you said, that was like, oh yeah, these guys are ready defensively. And outside of that last Knicks game, the defense looked average to below average, so it's not surprising to me.
Right. Yeah. So there's definitely defending the corners is something that they got to work on, and the pick and roll is something that West definitely has to get these guys to work on.
Yeah. And lastly, guys, the last topic of the day, I just want to give you an update on Thomas Bryant, who is ahead of schedule, but his return is still listed for December. Also, some minor transactions. Jamie Inchinike, Jordan Goodwin, and Devontae Shuler were waived. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I mean, I like those guys. I like what I saw from Jordan Goodwin. Like I said, Jordan Goodwin was on the show over the summertime during the draft process. He came on the show. I interviewed him. He's from St. Louis. He played for Bradley Beal's AAU team, so that's a cool story. He'll be on the Capital City Go-Go most likely. Echenique was good in the summer league. I liked him a lot in the summer league. Shuler is interesting because he played on the same AAU team as Zion Williamson. I want to say RJ Barrett was on the AAU team as well. He went to Ole Miss. They just signed Shuler yesterday or today, and they're going to waive him and then probably put him on a G League. He went to Ole Miss as well. So, and he went to Oak Hill. So there's a lot of, everybody loved Hoop Mixtape and whatnot. Used to watch Hoop Mixtape all the time back in the day. So I'm pretty familiar with him from watching his high school highlights and whatnot. So, but yeah, that makes the 15-man roster right there. Isaiah Todd is going to be on the 15-man roster. Cassius Winston will probably be on the G League. So yeah, I mean that's the 15-man roster is set.
Yeah, and I mean, I pretty much agree with everything that you said. So we're going to wrap it up. I know it's kind of a long episode, guys, but thanks for sticking with us. And I want to thank you again for making Locked On Wizards your first listen every day. And I want you guys to make your second listen, Locked On Fantasy Basketball with Josh Lloyd. He hosts the #1 daily fantasy basketball show on the planet, and it's free and available on all platforms. I want to thank you guys once again for sticking with us. Follow us on all social medias, Twitter, Locked On Wizards, YouTube, Locked On Wizards. And we'll see you guys next time.
Yep. And Knicks fans and Tibbs, you guys got a target on you. The Wizards, we're going to be coming for y'all. We're coming for y'all.
Yes, sir. All right, guys. Have a good one.
All right. Hell to the Wizards. Peace.